Hello everyone, this is Ike saying me dad. If this is your first time seeing my face and you enjoy music video reactions, piano tutorials, demonstrations on other instruments, definitely consider subscribing. This is going to be a first for me because this is going to be my very first full album review on this channel. And this is going to be Beyoncé, the soundtrack to The Lion King, The Gift, which I did a few years ago. I did a music video review-ish kind of to Beyoncé Lemonade, but I have to be really careful with Beyoncé because her team don't play around. They put copyright strikes on my piano tutorials. How do you put copyright strikes on the piano tutorial? I was like, Beyoncé, you don't own these chords. They're chords, you don't own them. I have not seen The Lion King yet. I do want to see it. I'll probably go see it in a few weeks. I don't really have like much anticipation. Like I haven't really had like built anticipation to see it because it is so kind of like an animation. As opposed with Aladdin, I was ready to see that like the week it came out because it was like a true live action with like actual actors. But I do really want to see this because I love the original Lion King. The original animation that came out like in 93, 94, 95, somewhere along that spectrum. And once again, this is just my opinion. I am, once again, a songwriter and musician based out of South Carolina. So I'm just giving my opinion on the tracks and the interludes and just things that I've noticed while listening to it. The first track is Balance, which is an interlude done by James Earl Jones, who we all know and love as Mufasa. It was only right to get him to come back to do the remake because who else could have filled that shoes? He's done the voice as we know it. Not much going on with this track. It's just the interlude. Then we have track 2, which is Bigger. This is the first actual song on the soundtrack done by Beyoncé. Starts off in the minor key, Beyoncé riding the beat with a melodic prowess in her mid-register. Opens with an organ / electric keyboard. I couldn't really decipher which one is which in this particular case. She has a beautiful F5 note in her head voice in this track. She goes up to a C sharp in her mixed register. Kind of African drums kind of pick up, come in within 3/4 of the song. Overall, I give this song a 5 out of 10 in my book in terms of if I had to rate it. Number 3 is another interlude. I think this kind of goes like interlude song, interlude song. That's kind of like the pattern of the soundtrack. Or is it like that with most soundtracks? I don't know. I don't really listen to soundtracks like that. But most soundtracks, I think, just have the actual song and not interludes. But this is The Stars. This is the interlude with James Earl Jones. Basically, Mufasa giving Simba the pep talk that he gives in the original. Number 4, which is Find Your Way Back. This is the actual song. One of my personal favorites of the soundtrack. Beyoncé track, syncopated rhythms. The overall message is not to lose yourself in the world. This resonated me definitely on a personal level. Has a catchy hook. The hook is probably my favorite part of the entire song. Male chorus quartet kind of picks up within, was it 3/4 of the quarter of the song? I don't really remember exactly when, but I do know that it picks up with male voices. African chant, I believe. This is one of my favorites. Once again, I give this an 8 out of 10 in terms of a ranking. Number 5 is a short Scar interlude. This is called Uncle Scar interlude. Not much going on. Scar just telling someone that he doesn't babysit. I think this one maybe was less than like 10 seconds long. Number 6 is another track. This is Don't Jealous Me. The artist on this is Techno, Yemi Alade, Mr. Easy. Beat kind of reminds me of Say Yes by Michelle Williams. If Jesus say yes, nobody can say no. That's what the beat kind of reminds me of because it kind of has that African percussion, well, I'm saying African kind of like flow to it, beat. I mean, I don't really know what they're saying, but I do know I did pick up on something that said, don't you jealous me. That's just jealousy. That was one of the lyrics that stuck out to me. I give this track a 5 out of 10 in my book. Number 7, this is an interlude. This is the Danger interlude with young Nala and young Simba. I believe this is at the Elephant Graveyard in the original. So also, if you haven't seen the movie, this is a great way that you get to kind of hear the voice actors in their role before actually seeing the movie if you haven't gotten around to seeing it yet. Number 8 is the actual track. It's J.R.E. Burna Boy, I believe is the artist. He has a baritone voice, African percussion, lush harmonies. Sounds like something I hear in the club. Like if I were to go to a club, it would kind of sound like something very familiar. You know what I'm saying? The overall takeaway that I got is take care of family and people that you're supposed to. I believe that's one of the lyrics in the actual song. I give this track a 4 out of 10. Number 9 is another interlude. This is the Runaway interlude. This is where Scar banishes Simba in the original. I believe they run away and never return. So I believe this is that particular point in the movie. This is after the stampede. Number 10 is Now. This is a collaboration between Beyoncé and Kendrick Lamar. This is a short song, kind of at octave unison in the beginning of it. Beyoncé singing in more of legato style, euphoric harmonies. The song is a little bit too short. I wish it was longer. I believe this was like maybe like a minute and a half. I gave this track a 6 out of 10 only because I think it's a really dope song that deserved to be longer. Number 11 is the interlude between Timon, Pumbaa, and Simba. The voice actors Billy Eichner, Seth Rogen, and JD McCrazy. Is it really JD McCrazy, or is that a typo on my end? I'm reading notes, so maybe it's a typo. Maybe it's McCray, or maybe it's McCrazy. Number 12 is another track. This is Move Forever. This has Beyoncé, Jay-Z, Childish Gambino. Follows kind of like that stomp stomp clap vibe. I'm not really fluid in like rap and flow, so I'm not an expert. I don't know really what's good rap and what's a good, people say, oh, this person's the greatest MZ of all time. Like, I don't know, because I'm not versed, I'm not fluid in rap. I mean, but to me, Jay-Z rides the beat easily. It sounds good to me. In fact, Jay-Z was probably my most favorite bit in the entire track. Connects the world, the prior land, and modern day. So kind of connects to me like fiction between non-fiction, kind of bridges the two worlds together because there's references in the non-fiction life and the fiction life and the fictional characters that the voice actors were playing. It also has a breakdown in the song, which I think leads opportunity for a dance break if the song were to ever be done live. So I think I gave this track a 7 out of 10 in terms of rating. Number 13 is Reunited. This is the interlude between Simba and Nala. I think this is less than 10 seconds, but we get to hear Beyoncé in the role of Nala for the first time if we have not seen the movie yet. Number 14 is Water. This is another song. The artist Celatile, Pharrell, and Beyoncé. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but kind of has like a synth bass line. Beyonce's bits were my favorite. She does an E-flat 5 in her mixed voice, still showing us that she can get up there if she needs to in terms of her range, because we all know that like after 2011 her voice has deepened, so she doesn't really do, she's not singing to the moon as much as she used to prior to the birth of Blue Ivy, so kind of shows us that she can still get up there if she needs to. Brown Skin Girl, I think this is my favorite track. This has Beyonce, St. John, JHN, Blue Ivy Carter's on the track, Wizkid. I love the message. It's like a love letter to all brown skinned girls. She names dropped Kelly Rowland, or I believe I heard her name drop Kelly Rowland in this. Pretty much she's praising their beauty and how they're the jewels of the world. I love the hook. I love the vocal prowess. The last act of the song, Beyonce is singing. She is singing like we have never really heard her sing in her latter years. So it's, like I said, my favorite track. You can hear the passion and conviction with the artist wanting to bring awareness to the perils that brown skinned girls face, in regards to their beauty that's placed on them due to like the general public standard of beauty. So it's like a love letter to all the brown skinned, dark skinned girls out there, because they do get a bad rep. I think the darker you are, the more of a bad rep you get. So this could be a love letter to brown skinned guys as well. Number 16, this is another interlude. This is a Nala interlude. Nothing much to it. Just telling Simba that he needs to come home back to Pride Lands. Keys to the Kingdom. This is Tiwa Savage, Mr. Easy. This sounds like something that I would hear, like, you ever went on a cruise, when you got off the cruise to like this island, to this location, you have like the tourist attractions and everything, they're all outside playing their instruments, and you have like the people on stilts and stuff like that, like kind of greeting the tourists. Like, this is what this kind of sounds like it would be placed at. I gave this particular track a 4 out of 10 in my rating. Number 18 is the interlude. This is between Simba and Rafiki. Not much to it. Follow Me. This is in the original, I think, where they're at Rafiki's home, and like he hits him, I guess. No, I don't really remember. I need to go back and watch it. They're inside of like the tree, and they're like running through everything, and Simba's like ducking and dodging. This is that bit, I think. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm going based off my memory of the original animation. Number 19 is Already. This is Beyonce Shot a Whale and Major Lazer. Opens with melodic riffs with harmonies stacking each time it repeats itself. I love the bass prowess of the song. I'm sure it sounds amazing in the car with like decent speakers, because it has that 808 boom, boom boom, kind of has that 808 boom like an 808. I love the clap plus piano that gets added towards the end of it, which also adds the bass back into it, and I gave this a rating of 6 out of 10. Number 20 is Remember. This is the interlude with Jason Earl Jones, Thunder Voice as we know it, and this kind of sounds like whatever higher power you believe in. Like if this had a voice, this is what I imagine. So whatever your spiritual higher power being is, whatever you believe in, if it had a voice, this would be like that voice. Number 21, which is Other Side. This is a Beyoncé song, another one of my favorites personally. Opens with a classical piano. I originally thought it was a harp because the musician was really light on his fingers and it just flowed like a harp, but now that I listen back more, it sounded like a classical piano to me. Strings are added after the verse, and subsequently bass, drums, hi-hat, or clap. Beyoncé is singing in the second octave. She is getting down there in her lower part of her register. The second octave, which sometimes tenors, sometimes that's the extreme for tenors. So true tenors, not like the gospel choir tenor, but like true tenors, which are, when I say gospel choir, I mean like baritones that's singing in the tenor range in gospel choir, but true tenors like have a hard time reaching a B flat too. So the fact that she's able to just flow so effortlessly, bravo, kind of really shows, you know, the extent of her mezzo soprano range. I gave this, what did I give this? I gave this an 8 out of 10. Number 22, which is a war interlude, Nala interlude. You get to hear Nala. Why did I type it like that? You hear Beyoncé, Nala confronts Scar. So 23 is My Power, Tierra Whack, Beyoncé, Busiswa, Moonchild, Sinelli, Niha. I like how it begins. Kind of reminds me of how a Michael Jackson song would start off. Once again, I don't really know much about rap and flow, but I enjoyed how they, nevertheless rolled the beat. Beyoncé kind of flows in there with her rap, talk, sing like technique that she kind of took on in 2013 with her Beyoncé project. That's when she kind of that's when she started doing it the most. Since 2013 she kind of does like that talk, sing, melodic thing now that she does a lot nowadays. So there's a lot of that in this. I gave this track a 5 out of 10. Number 24 is Surrender. This is the Simba and Scar interlude. In the original, I believe this is when they're talking before all hell breaks loose and everyone starts fighting. This is that bit. Number 25, which is the actual song called Scar. It's 070 Shake. Jesse Reyes starts off with a piano with an assumed male voice singing the hook, followed by an assumed female voice with kind of like a vocal I don't know what I want to call the effect, but it has like a vocal effect to it. I gave this track a 3 out of 10. Number 26, I'm Home. This is a Mufasa Surabi Simba interlude. This is after Scar's defeat, I believe. So before they ascend Pride Rock. If I had to place it in the movie, I haven't seen it yet, once again, this is where I would place it, I'm thinking. And number 27, this is Spirit by Beyoncé. This is the lead promotional single. I have not watched the video yet, so this is my first time actually hearing the song. It has African gospel undertones. I love Beyonce's vocals on this song. Best showcases her current vocal studio state, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said before, Beyonce's obviously not always singing to the moon like she did in her earlier projects anymore, because she doesn't have to. So if it had to be conveyed best with her current vocal state, this would be the track. It definitely motivated me. I felt like Beyoncé was singing directly to me and only me, and that's how a track should be. When you listen to it, you should feel like the artist is singing just to you. It's just you and that artist in the room, and this track definitely does that. She does beautiful B flat 5 in her head voice, and it also has a modulation at the end of the song. Towards the end of the song, I gave this a 10 out of 10, and I think this is one of my favorites. Yeah, I have 3 favorites: Find Your Way Back, Spirit, and there's another one that I don't quite remember off the top of my head. But let me know in the comments, what did you guys think about the soundtrack? I actually love it. I mean, it's not a banger, it's not one of those ones that you drive down. It's definitely more reflective. It's more of a reflective song, reflective album, reflective soundtrack. 2016 kind of has that same vibe. I mean, not 2016, the name of Beyonce's 2016 track album was Lemonade, but it was more of a reflective album. It wasn't like, It wasn't like 4. It wasn't like Sasha Fierce. It wasn't like B-Day, where those are like bangers. It's something for you to more think and reflect over, and it gets your mind thinking. So that was my, my overall view of the entire all of the tracks. Actually, I gave this album an overall 7 out of 10. I think it had some really standout tracks, and I would definitely recommend you guys take a listen to this. Now, I say listen to it when you're like studying or when you're doing something that's really easy going, because this is something that it's an album that may, if you get too preoccupied, it's easy to get preoccupied with something else with this, because if you're doing something else like high energy, this album, like I said, is more reflective. So it's really easy to get off course because you're not sitting there forced to think. So I definitely recommend checking this out, just as I did. So what do you guys think I should do a full album review to next? I enjoyed this because kind of makes me sit down and actually listen to music, which people don't really sit and listen to music anymore. Everything's about singles. People don't listen to albums, it's about singles. So I definitely enjoyed this. Let me know what you think I should do a music album review to next. And if you want to see more, if you want to see less, definitely subscribe, like, and leave a comment. You all have a lovely, lovely night.